Hi everyone, I'm going to show you a quick and easy workflow to turn a raster image into a vector image that can be sent to a vinyl cutter or a laser cutter. We're going to send ours to a vinyl cutter, and we're going to use an easy raster image in Illustrator, and this is for people who have no Illustrator skills. I'm going to go ahead and place that raster. Now this is going to work really well because it already looks like a vector image, so there's not that much translation it has to do. If I zoom in on it, you can see it is a raster bitmap JPEG image. It does have a grayscale to it. And I'm just going to trace a couple of things. So first we're going to trace the image, and then we're going to extract it into vectors. So if I look at this button right here, it says image trace. I actually look at this little corner here and I have a bunch of options. Shades of gray, black and white logo, is it a sketch, is it a silhouette, line art, etc. So it looks like a black and white logo kind of thing. It's got smooth, graceful curves, and it translates pretty well, but you can see there is a translation going on here. It's not exactly the way it looked bitmap, but it's pretty close, and it's pretty usable. I'm going to just look at a couple of other things, like what does silhouette do? And it looks pretty good, except of course I lose my interior shapes. So that may not be what I want. And I'm going to try low fidelity photo, even though it's not a photo at all and it doesn't have a lot of grayscale, but the low fidelity photo looks pretty good. And so I'm just trying them, and I think that that's the one I'm actually going to use. So let's zoom in on that. I'm actually going to print a couple of these leaves here today and see what's going on. And then I've traced it. I need to expand it. It's just still an object. And that happened really quickly, and there's my vector points. You can see here especially, nice smooth curve, very few points, traces it really nicely. You can see where there's a little more complexity, that it's not quite as a graceful trace going on there. So I'm going to focus on these two because they look pretty darn good. Now, I'm going to try and great. So I can move this around, and if I hit shift, I can also move this around. There's a little gray piece here left over that I actually don't want. I would actually delete it. And I'm going to delete the original. And so what I have here are a couple of these shapes, and this is what I'm going to send to the vinyl cutter. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy that, and Command C, Command N for a new file, and then Command V to paste that, so I don't have to worry about the other files kind of getting in my way. And if I choose the selection tool, because it's a vector, I can scale it beautifully and it won't lose any resolution, unlike a raster. And it's absolutely fine. I don't need to do any tweaking or drawing. That'll be another screencast. Now, to get it ready to go to the printer, I'm going to select everything, and I'm going to just check it first. The default is that there's no outline and there is a black fill. I'm actually just going to reverse that. I'm going to double click on that, and let's see, let's tell it to fill it, and it's just going to give me a line, and then I'm going to go to the fill, and I'm going to say no fill. And so now I've got this 1-point line weight here. Now when we go to digital fabrication, usually the rule of thumb is to keep that line as thin as possible, so that the output laser or blade doesn't think there's an inner and outer edge, because it is that precise. and it may want to do that. So a good rule, check with your output, but a good rule is 0.001. So I'm going to go ahead and do that and leave everything black. Another thing I can do is if I want to be economical about my vinyl, I can really try to save space and really kind of cram these things together. And then that's really it. I'm going to go to the Silhouette printer. I'm using the Silhouette, which is a small consumer brand, and it has a plug-in for Illustrator, so it makes it really easy just to go right to it. And yes, I do want to open it, and it's compatible with Illustrator and CorelDRAW. And it has a simple interface, so hopefully you can see this, where I'm just gonna show you the software interface on the screencast, so I can zoom in on that, make it the actual height of the image and the width of the image, so it doesn't think it's longer. I'm using a 12 by 12 matte. I'm only using one layer. There's no graphics that overlap each other, and there's no multiple cuts. I'll do that in another demo. I'm just going to click on vinyl, and if you're using Silhouette brand materials, it's super easy, and what these will mostly do is measure the density of both your material and the cut you may want. For instance, cardstock, you may want a deeper cut. Vinyl, you don't want to cut all the way through, you just want to cut part way through and peel back a sticker. So that's what's going on there, and there are options to kind of manually play with those settings. But for now, the last thing for the screencast is to go to the print here. It's this little dialog box. It's a little bit missing. It always gives you this command that says it's not working, and then it says ready, and it's fine. And so then I just hit click to send to Silhouette, and in about 45 seconds I will have 2 stickers of my leaves.